If you're over 70 and living alone, or thinking about it, this video is going to tell you 5 things that nobody else will. Not your family, not your doctor, not even the cheerful articles about successful aging. Here's why. Everyone wants to protect your feelings, or they simply don't know because they haven't lived it themselves. But I'm going to be completely honest with you today, because honest information is what you need to make good decisions. The truth is, more Americans over 70 are living alone than ever before. In fact, nearly 40% of women over 75 live by themselves, and that number is growing every year. Yet most conversations about aging focus on the positives or the extreme negatives. Nothing about the everyday realities that actually matter. What I'm about to share comes from real seniors who've been living alone for years. Not the ones who appear in glossy retirement magazines, but regular people who've figured out what works and what doesn't. They've learned things that no one prepared them for, and they've developed solutions that actually make a difference. Some of what you'll hear might surprise you. Some might make you feel relieved that you're not the only one experiencing these things. And some will give you practical tools to make your life easier and more enjoyable. This isn't about scaring you or convincing you that living alone is impossible. Millions of seniors do it successfully every day. But they succeed because they understand the real challenges and have real solutions. Not because someone gave them a list of generic advice that sounds good, but doesn't work in practice. Ready for the truth? Let's start with something that hits everyone living alone after 70, but nobody talks about it. The first thing no one tells you is that nights are completely different from days when you're living alone after 70. During the day, you can stay busy, run errands, watch TV, talk to neighbors. But when the sun goes down, everything changes. The silence becomes more noticeable. Every sound in the house, the refrigerator cycling, the heating system clicking on, a creak in the hallway, suddenly seems louder. You find yourself listening to these sounds differently, sometimes wondering if they're normal or if something's wrong. Sleep patterns change too. And not just because of aging. Many seniors living alone report lying awake thinking about things they never worried about before. Did I lock the front door? What if something happens during the night and no one knows? What if I fall on the way to the bathroom? The evenings between dinner and bedtime can feel especially long. This is when many people used to spend time with spouses or family, and the absence of that companionship is most noticeable. Television helps, but it's not the same as having someone to talk to about your day or share a laugh with. Here's what successful solo living seniors have figured out. You need an evening routine that works for you. This might mean scheduling phone calls with family or friends after dinner, joining online activities or virtual book clubs, or simply accepting that going to bed earlier isn't a sign of giving up. It's adapting to your new reality. Some create bedtime rituals that make them feel secure. Checking all the locks, setting out clothes for tomorrow, or listening to calming music or audiobooks. Others install motion sensor lights that automatically illuminate pathways to the bathroom, reducing nighttime fall risks and anxiety. The key is acknowledging that nights are different and planning accordingly, rather than pretending this change doesn't matter or hoping it will get easier on its own. Nothing changes your perspective on living alone quite like your first real health scare after 70. It might be chest pain that turns out to be heartburn, a dizzy spell, or a fall in the bathroom. Suddenly, all the independence you've been enjoying feels fragile. The scary part isn't just the medical issue. It's realizing that if something serious happened, You might not be able to get help quickly enough. This hits differently when you're alone than when you have someone in the house who would notice immediately if something was wrong. Many seniors describe this as a wake-up call moment. Margaret, who's 74 and has lived alone for 6 years since her husband passed, told me, "I had severe food poisoning last year and spent 2 days barely able to get out of bed. It made me realize that if it had been a heart attack or stroke, I could have been in real trouble." This realization often leads to what psychologists call health anxiety. Constantly worrying about your body and interpreting normal aches and pains as signs of serious problems. Some seniors become afraid to go to sleep, worried they won't wake up. Others avoid activities they used to enjoy because they're afraid of getting hurt when no one's around to help. The good news is that modern technology has created solutions our parents didn't have. Medical alert systems, smartwatches that detect falls, and medication reminder systems can provide real security. But more importantly, understanding that this anxiety is normal and temporary helps you work through it. Most seniors find that after the initial adjustment period, they develop a realistic approach to health management that doesn't involve constant worry. They learn to distinguish between reasonable precautions and paralyzing fear, and they create safety nets that let them enjoy their independence again. Here's something that catches many seniors completely off guard. Eating alone changes your entire relationship with food, and not in ways you'd expect. For most of your life, meals were social events. You cooked for a family, ate dinner together, shared stories about your day. Food was about more than nutrition, it was about connection. When you're living alone after 70, this suddenly disappears, and it affects you more than you might realize. Many seniors report that they simply stop cooking real meals. "What's the point of making a whole recipe for just me?" they ask. So they eat cereal for dinner, or a sandwich, or they skip meals altogether. This isn't just about nutrition. It's about losing one of life's basic pleasures. Others find themselves eating the same few things over and over, because shopping for variety feels wasteful when you're cooking for one. Restaurants don't feel the same either. Eating alone in public can feel awkward or lonely, so many seniors simply avoid it. The impact goes beyond food. Grocery shopping becomes less enjoyable when you're buying smaller quantities. You might avoid certain aisles entirely because they remind you of cooking for others. The social aspect of sharing meals disappears, and with it, part of the structure and joy of daily life. Successful solo living seniors have found creative solutions. Meal subscription services designed for one person, cooking clubs where seniors prepare meals together, or simply changing their definition of what constitutes a proper meal. Some embrace the freedom to eat breakfast for dinner, or have ice cream as an afternoon snack. Small rebellions that actually bring back some joy to eating. The key is recognizing that this change in eating habits is normal, and finding new ways to make meals meaningful again. If you've started talking to yourself more since living alone, you're not losing your mind. You're doing something completely normal that nobody warns you about. When you live with others, you have built-in conversation throughout the day. Someone to tell about the funny thing you saw on TV, to complain to about the weather, or to ask where you put your reading glasses. When you live alone, that need for verbal processing doesn't just disappear. So you start talking to yourself. You might find yourself narrating your activities. "Now where did I put that, Bill?" Or, "I better write this down or I'll forget." You might comment on the news, talk to your pets, if you have them, or even have full conversations with photos of deceased loved ones. Many seniors feel embarrassed about this and worry it means they're developing dementia or losing their social skills. But psychologists say that talking to yourself is actually a sign of cognitive health. It helps you process information, remember things, and work through problems. The difference is that when you lived with others, most of this internal dialogue stayed internal. Now it comes out as spoken words because there's no one around to hear it, and speaking thoughts aloud actually helps your brain process them better. Some seniors take this even further, reading aloud, singing while doing household tasks, or even arguing with television personalities. This might seem odd, but it's your brain's way of maintaining the verbal stimulation it's used to having. Rather than feeling embarrassed about talking to yourself, recognize it as a healthy adaptation. Your brain is finding ways to stay active and engaged. The only consideration is to be aware of it when you're not actually alone, like when repair workers come to the house, so you don't accidentally include them in conversations meant for yourself. When you're living alone after 70, a dripping faucet isn't just an annoyance. It can become a major source of stress in ways you never experienced when you had someone to share these problems with. Before, if something broke, you either fixed it together, one person handled it while the other did something else, or you at least had someone to discuss the problem with. Now, every household issue lands entirely on your shoulders. Researching solutions, calling repair services, being home for appointments, and making all the decisions alone. What makes this especially difficult is that many seniors, particularly women, may not have handled certain household maintenance tasks during their marriages. Suddenly, you're dealing with furnace problems, electrical issues, or plumbing leaks that you've never managed before. The learning curve feels overwhelming when you're doing it alone. There's also a vulnerability factor that's hard to describe to people who haven't experienced it. Having strangers in your home for repairs feels different when you're alone. You might worry about being taken advantage of, overcharged, or even unsafe. These concerns can make you put off necessary repairs, which often makes problems worse and more expensive. Then there's the decision fatigue. Every household issue requires multiple decisions. Is this worth fixing or should I replace it? Which company should I call? Is this quote reasonable? Should I get a second opinion? When you're used to discussing these decisions with someone else, making them all alone can be exhausting. Successful solo living seniors develop systems for this. They build relationships with trusted contractors, create emergency funds specifically for household repairs, and often find household helpers among friends, neighbors, or family who can provide advice even if they can't provide physical help. Some join community groups where seniors help each other with household decisions, sharing contractor recommendations and advice about when to repair versus replace items. Now that we've talked about the 5 realities nobody mentions, let's discuss what actually works. These solutions come from seniors who've been successfully living alone for years. For the nighttime challenges, create a wind-down routine that makes evenings feel purposeful instead of empty. This might include calling a friend at the same time each evening, doing a puzzle while listening to music, or joining virtual activities that happen in the evening hours. Install motion sensor lights in hallways and bathrooms. Consider a white noise machine to mask random house sounds that might keep you awake. For health anxiety, invest in a medical alert system. Not because you're paranoid, but because having that safety net actually reduces anxiety and lets you enjoy your independence more. Keep emergency contact information in obvious places. Create a simple daily check-in system with family or friends. Most importantly, distinguish between reasonable precautions and paralyzing worry. 4 meal and eating challenges. Look into meal kit services designed for seniors or single-person households. Join community meal programs. Many senior centers offer lunch programs that provide both nutrition and social interaction. Consider cooking dates with friends where you prepare meals together. Give yourself permission to redefine what a proper meal looks like for your current life. For the talking to yourself reality, embrace it. Get a pet if you're able. They're excellent conversation partners. Try audiobooks or podcasts that feel like having someone in the room with you. Consider voice-activated assistants that can respond to your questions and comments. For household stress, build a home maintenance team before you need them. This includes a handyman, plumber, electrician, and house cleaner you trust. Join or create a local group of seniors who share contractor recommendations. Keep a household emergency fund. Don't try to handle major repairs alone. Even having a friend or family member on speakerphone while you talk to contractors can help you make better decisions. The overarching solution: accept that living alone after 70 requires adaptations, and that's completely normal. The seniors who thrive aren't the ones who pretend nothing has changed. They're the ones who acknowledge the changes and create new systems that work for their current reality. Let's talk about specific resources that can make living alone after 70 not just manageable, but genuinely comfortable and safe. Technology that actually helps. Medical alert systems like Life Alert or Medical Guardian provide peace of mind without being complicated to use. Smart speakers like Amazon Echo or Google Home can set medication reminders, answer questions, and even provide companionship through conversation. Video calling devices like Facebook Portal make staying connected with family easier than trying to manage apps on smartphones. Food and nutrition solutions. Services like Silver Cuisine or HelloFresh offer meal plans designed for seniors living alone. Many grocery stores now offer senior delivery services. Local Meals on Wheels programs provide both nutrition and human contact. Community gardens often welcome senior participants and provide both social interaction and fresh produce. Home maintenance resources. Many areas have handyman services specifically designed for seniors. Angie's List and similar services help you find reliable contractors with reviews from other customers. Some communities have volunteer programs where younger people help seniors with household tasks. Social connection. Senior centers offer everything from meal programs to activity groups. AARP has local chapters that organize social activities. Many churches and community organizations have programs specifically for seniors living alone. Virtual senior groups have become popular and accessible through video calling. Transportation options. Many communities now have senior-specific transportation services. Rideshare apps like GoGo Grandparent make using Uber or Lyft easier for seniors who aren't comfortable with smartphone apps. Some grocery stores and pharmacies offer delivery services specifically for seniors. Financial and legal support. Many areas have senior-specific financial advisory services. Legal aid organizations often provide free or low-cost services for seniors. AARP offers financial counseling and fraud prevention education. Healthcare support. Many doctors now offer telemedicine appointments, reducing the need to travel for routine consultations. Pharmacy delivery services are becoming more common. Some areas have visiting nurse services for seniors living alone. The key is not trying to use every resource, but finding the few that address your specific challenges and make the biggest difference in your daily life. Start with 1 or 2 resources and add others as needed. Living alone successfully requires honest self-assessment about when you need additional support. Here are the warning signs that indicate it might be time to seek help or consider changes. Physical warning signs. If you've fallen more than once in the past year, have frequent dizzy spells, or find yourself avoiding stairs or other parts of your home due to mobility concerns. If you're regularly forgetting to take medications, or can't manage household tasks like bathing or cooking safely. Emotional and cognitive indicators. Persistent feelings of loneliness that don't improve with social contact. Increasing anxiety about living alone that interferes with sleep or daily activities. Memory problems that affect safety, like leaving stoves on or forgetting to lock doors. Depression that lasts more than 2 weeks and doesn't respond to your usual coping strategies. Social isolation red flags. Going days without speaking to another person. Avoiding activities you used to enjoy because they seem too difficult to manage alone. Declining invitations or making excuses to avoid social interaction. Feeling disconnected from family and friends, even when they reach out. Practical daily life concerns. Difficulty managing finances or being vulnerable to scams. Problems maintaining personal hygiene or household cleanliness. Eating poorly or losing significant weight unintentionally. Missing medical appointments or not following through with prescribed treatments. When these signs appear, don't wait for a crisis. Talk to your doctor, a trusted family member, or contact your local area agency on aging for guidance. Many solutions exist between complete independence and moving to assisted living. Home health aides, adult day programs, or increased family involvement can often address problems while preserving your independence. Remember, needing additional support doesn't mean you've failed at living alone. It means you're being smart about adapting to changing circumstances. The goal is maintaining your safety, health, and quality of life, not proving you can handle everything by yourself. Early intervention often prevents bigger problems and can help you continue living independently longer. Let me share some real stories from seniors who've successfully navigated the challenges of living alone after 70. These aren't perfect people with perfect solutions. They're regular people who figured out what works. Dorothy, 76. After her husband died, Dorothy struggled with the evening loneliness. Her solution was joining an online bridge club that meets every evening at 7 p.m. I put on a nice blouse, set up my computer, and spend 2 hours with friends from all over the country. It gives me something to look forward to every day, and I've made real friendships. Frank, 78. Frank's wake-up call came when he had a minor heart episode and spent 6 hours on the floor before his daughter found him during her weekly visit. Instead of moving to assisted living, he invested in a medical alert system and created a daily check-in routine with 3 different people: his daughter, his neighbor, and his barber. If any one of them doesn't hear from me by noon, they know to check on me. Maria, 73. The household maintenance stress was overwhelming Maria until she created what she calls her home team. She has cards for a trusted handyman, plumber, and electrician posted by her phone. When something breaks, I don't panic anymore. I just call my team. It costs money, but it's worth it for the peace of mind. Robert, 79. Robert solved his eating problem by starting a Sunday cooking club with 4 other widowed neighbors. Every Sunday, they meet at someone's house and prepare meals for the week together. We make large batches and everyone takes home containers for the week. It's practical, social, and the food is better than anything I made for myself. These seniors succeeded not because they were tougher or more resourceful than others, but because they admitted the challenges were real and found practical solutions. They didn't try to prove they could handle everything alone. They found ways to get the support they needed while maintaining their independence. The common thread in all their stories is that they stopped trying to live exactly the same way they did before, and instead created new systems that worked for their current reality. If you're living alone after 70 or thinking about it, remember this. You're part of a large and growing community of seniors who are navigating the same challenges. The 5 realities we discussed today, the nighttime difficulties, health anxiety, eating challenges, talking to yourself, and household stress, are experienced by millions of seniors. You're not unusual, weak, or failing if you experience these things. What makes the difference between struggling and thriving isn't avoiding these challenges. It's acknowledging them and finding solutions that work for you. The seniors who do best aren't the ones who pretend everything is fine, or try to live exactly like they did when they weren't alone. They're the ones who adapt, who find new routines, who accept help when they need it, and who create support systems that work for their new reality. Living alone after 70 isn't easy, but it's absolutely possible to do it well. Millions of seniors are proving this every day. They're creating fulfilling, safe, independent lives by being honest about the challenges and practical about the solutions. Remember that asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. Whether that's a medical alert system for safety, a meal delivery service for nutrition, regular check-ins with family for peace of mind, or help with household maintenance, these aren't admissions of failure. They're tools that help you maintain the independence you value. The most important thing? You don't have to figure this out alone. Talk to other seniors who are living successfully by themselves. Contact your local area agency on aging for resources. Join senior groups in your community or online. Share your experiences and learn from others. Your life has value. Your independence matters, and with the right adaptations and support systems, you can continue to thrive in your own home for years to come. What resonated most with you from today's discussion? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experience might help another senior who's facing the same challenges. And if you found this helpful, please subscribe for more honest conversations about the realities of aging well.